Hello supply chain friends. Since I made the video about how to find entry-level jobs in our industry, I got a lot of questions from you all asking about what are the different career paths available in supply chain. So if someone starts as a warehouse coordinator or a supply planner, how does that career evolve? Where can people get promoted? What are the different options and so on? So in this video, I will cover with you a generic supply chain organization structure following the SCOR model. And then we will see how you can navigate your career in this amazing industry. My name is Jamil Hai, and I've been working in supply chain management positions across South Asia, Middle East, and North America for the last 20 plus years. And my mission is to help you build real life skills for your job and career that they don't teach you in college. And if you are preparing for a supply chain job interview anytime soon, you should definitely book a session with me because I'm going to take your resume, the job description you're applying for, and based on a combination of those two and my 20 plus years of experience, will give you some laser guided tips and tricks which will maximize your chances of success. So go ahead now and book your session. Now, before I get into the org structure, let's just take a quick recap of the SCOR model or the supply chain operations reference model, because this is the best model that compartmentalizes supply chain into different areas. So if you look at this graphic here, and I know I've covered this in my previous video, so I'll make it very, very quick. Supply chain is all about moving the product from the supplier to the customer. And in between that is everything that is called supply chain. So there are few key areas. Number one is planning. So all the planning jobs fall under that umbrella. Then it's sourcing, which is all the procurement and purchasing and buying jobs. Then you have make, which is all the manufacturing jobs. So any jobs related to factory engineering are largely a part of supply chain as well. And then you have got deliver, which is everything to do with your logistics, your warehousing, transportation, and so on. And then part of that deliver is also the return process, especially now that the reverse logistics or the returning of packages has become such a common thing with the e-commerce. And then finally, you've got the enable portion of the SCOR model, which is everything that you do to develop your supply chain or to bring in new technology there. So all the IT jobs and all the transformation jobs that fall under the umbrella of supply chain fall in that enable space. Now, considering that context of the SCOR model, the supply chain typical organizational design looks like something what you're seeing on your screen here. I know it's very cluttered, and keep in mind that in this organizational design, I've not even covered the make portion in detail, because make is a world on its own. And if you think about the make portion of the SCOR model, you have got plant manager roles, but underneath those plant manager roles, you could have engineering director roles, you will have operations director roles, and then there are like hundreds and thousands of people sometimes working in a factory. So that's a world on its own, and I've deliberately kept it out, but we can touch on it as we get into the details of this video. So in this particular chart that you see there is the supply chain VP, which is the top position in supply chain typically, because in most organizations, your supply chain vice president would be reporting to the CEO of the company or to whoever the president, for example, of the region is, depending on how big your company is. And then underneath that, there are, other than the make portion, there are 5 different areas. One is planning. So that covers the plan portion of the SCOR model. You have customer service, which is everything to do with customer service or customer facing roles, especially if your customers are in the retail sector. Then you've got the logistics area, which is everything to do with warehousing and transportation. Then you have sourcing, which is all about procurement. And then you've got supply chain transformation roles, which are basically belonging to that enable section of the SCOR model. So let's take a deeper dive into planning. So let's say if you started your career as a supply planner or a demand planner, which you can see is at the bottom of that structure over here, you can over time get promoted to a supply planning manager or a demand planning manager. And normally, and I know I've covered this in my other videos as well, the demand planning roles are a little bit more senior than the supply planner roles, because in supply planning, you are mostly working with suppliers or with outside parties. But in case of demand planning, you are working a lot with a lot of internal functions and sales and marketing. So that role requires you to have a little bit more organizational acumen internally, and therefore those roles are a bit more senior. But nevertheless, if you are a demand planner or a supply planner, you can get promoted into those demand planning manager or supply planning manager roles. And therefore, one of the key advice I would give to anybody who is in that planning space watching this, if you are in the supply planning space, try to find a role in the demand planning space. Try to cross fertilize that knowledge as much as you can, because when the time will come for your promotion, you don't just want to be a candidate for one manager position. You should be capable enough to take over either demand planning or supply planning. So that's a key tip to consider. And then as those roles evolve over time, you could eventually become a supply planning director as well, because this is a relatively new position as the world is realizing the importance of supply chain. There were not too many supply planning director roles before, but now given planning is a nerve center of supply chain, this is becoming a very, very common organizational design. So this is the typical career path for planning people in the supply chain. But here is the catch. Doesn't mean that you cannot go into other portions of supply chain as well, or other parts of that SCOR model. One of the other key advice I would give, and I have done this personally, is that when you are in that early career stage or even the mid-career stage, or let's say you were a supply planning manager for a long time, try to find a role in logistics, try to find a role in procurement, and we'll cover that in a second, because that will then give you that well-rounded overview. I became a customer service manager after doing a planning role for several years in a different company. So it was a lot of learning curve for me. But I think the things that then I learned as a customer service manager, I would have never learned if I had continued just in a planning role. So cross-fertilization of your knowledge across those different levels is very, very important, and you should try to not have a very monotonous career in one area, because that really limits your bandwidth to operate in different parts of supply chain, if I may use that word. Now, let's look at the second part of the supply chain or organization design, which is the customer service organization. So in a customer service organization, you could be starting as an order management specialist or as a CPFR specialist. Now, CPFR stands for collaborative planning, forecasting, and replenishment. CPFR roles are very, very common if you are a manufacturer serving retail clients, especially like the Walmarts or the Carrefours of the Krugers of the world, because these CPFR roles often are not only customer facing roles, you might be actually sitting in the customer office. So there are a lot of people in these manufacturing companies who are working for those companies, but they will go and sit in a Walmart office a couple of times a week or something like that, just because that's a part of that whole joint business planning that you are doing with the customer, because some of these customers are such a big chunk of your revenue pie that you almost need to be like hand in glove with them on a day-to-day basis. And there is nothing better than placing your staff in their offices itself. So you could be a CPFR planner and then you get promoted to a CPFR manager, or you could become an order management leader or a manager, and then eventually you could become a customer service director as well. So this is then, that vertical in supply chain, which is not very planning focused, but this is more customer service driven. Now, this is where that whole cross-fertilization point comes back again, because if you are someone who has worked in planning, you can be a very good customer service or a CPFR planner, or vice versa. If you started in customer service, you can be also a very good planner, because then you are bringing in that customer knowledge and customer lens to your planning responsibility. So once again, going across these different functions and trying to diversify your skill set within supply chain is very important. The third vertical in supply chain is logistics. So you could be starting, and this is, by the way, if I were to count the number of questions I get from people on my channel about career and progression, this is where the largest population sits. So if you are a warehouse coordinator, or you're working in a warehouse or in a trucking company, this is for you guys, right? So this is the vertical in supply chain where you fit. But once again, doesn't mean that you should stay here forever. One of my key advice to people, especially who are working in logistics and transportation, is that it's a great place to start your supply chain career, because there is nothing like learning about supply chain when you are solving a live problem in a warehouse or solving a problem with a transporter. But don't stay there forever, because then that is going to really limit your career opportunities in supply chain. Because not only these logistics jobs are generally less paid, to be very honest with you, but you can really capitalize on that experience that you have gained by moving to other functions. So imagine you were the 3PL coordinator, or you were the transportation coordinator, or the warehouse coordinator, and then before you even become the warehouse manager, maybe you go and do a stint in planning or a stint in customer service, and later on we'll talk about maybe a stint in sourcing. That will really give you that breadth, and then you can then come back from those other verticals and become a warehouse manager, because now you not only have the knowledge of operating within a warehouse environment, but you also have the knowledge of the other functions. Now, one more thing to clarify here is that when you go from that warehouse coordinator level or the transportation coordinator level to a manager level, and this applies to all the other ones I've covered as well, the main difference between a manager and an associate at that lower level is your ability to manage people. So very important thing to keep in mind is that as you start your career in supply chain, you have to start building your people management skills. You need to know how to manage people. You need to know how to manage people with different skill sets, how to manage conflict, how to discipline people when there is, let's say, a performance issue and those kind of things. So try to learn those skills as early as possible in your career, because that is really the bridge that you will have to cross when you move from a coordinator or an individual contributor role to a people manager role. And then eventually you can become a logistics director as well, through the vertical experience itself. But more importantly, I think it will be easier for you to get a logistics director role if you have not only got in-depth knowledge of the logistics vertical, but you also have knowledge and experience in other areas. And that takes me to the next vertical in supply chain, which is all about procurement and sourcing. So in this case, you could start as a buyer or a sourcing coordinator, and then you become a sourcing manager or a procurement manager. You can become a senior buyer. There are lots of different titles different companies use. Remember, this is a generic org design that I'm using. And then eventually, by doing those roles, you can become a sourcing director. Now, this is a unique pillar of supply chain where you could spend your entire life in that pillar and you could become an expert there. And these jobs will always remain in demand, by the way. Even, I mean, we are talking a lot about AI, and AI is replacing a lot of work happening in sourcing. But I think there will still be a strong human element to these roles, even no matter how much AI advances. So the interesting thing about this particular vertical is that I have seen a lot of people who have just spent their entire careers in this one. But then I have also seen people who have spent their entire careers in all the other verticals in supply chain. So there are people who have been planners, and then the same people have been logistics managers, and they have also been customer service associates, but they never got exposed to the sourcing area. If you ask me, truth be told, one of my biggest regrets in my career is that I would have loved to do a sourcing role much earlier in my career, because now I feel it'll be very hard for me to make inroads there. So this is an area of supply chain which requires very specific skills. And the reason why it's such a, I would say, a little bit of an isolated vertical on its own is that the skill sets are a bit different, right? Because in logistics, customer care, and planning, planning has got, of course, some specialized skills on analysis and some tools and so on. But in sourcing, even the softer skills are very different. Here you are negotiating with external suppliers, you are writing contracts. So there's a lot of contract writing skill, which is only required in this area. It's probably not needed that much. Maybe in logistics, contract writing is important because you are working with 3PL and so on, but in sourcing more so. So a very strong vertical, and I think a very promising career in the supply chain space as far as sourcing is concerned. And then finally, we get to the last vertical in a supply chain organization design, which is the supply chain transformation role. So this is the role, this is linked to the enable portion of supply chain. And what you are seeing here is as a supply chain transformation director, first of all, you cannot become a supply chain transformation director by just working in this pillar. So this is a little bit opposite in terms of career maneuvering from a sourcing, from the sourcing vertical, right? So in sourcing, I said you could build your entire career in that vertical and not do anything else. That is possible. In this case, you cannot do a transformation role if you haven't spent time in the other roles, because think about supply chain transformation or continuous improvement roles, right? You are only able to do those roles if you know the pain points of the people who are actually doing the bread and butter, the daily jobs of supply chain. You cannot transform a supply chain if you don't know anything about supply chain, right? So this is a vertical area in supply chain that the prerequisite to enter this vertical is to have lots and lots of experience in those other areas. So I've experienced this myself, so therefore I can speak to you with a lot of confidence about this because I'm doing a transformation role right now. But the only reason I'm able to do that role is because I have spent years and years in planning, in customer service and logistics, because now I know all those pain points. And yes, I have to educate myself on how to better manage projects or work with the technology folks or the IT folks. But if I have to be successful in this role, then that prior knowledge is almost a prerequisite. Some of the other roles in this particular are project manager roles. Now, project managers can be supply chain people, can not be supply chain people, because project management is a standalone skill on its own. So that's a role available in this space. There's an IT manager. Once again, this is a role typically that doesn't belong to supply chain, but like I've covered in my previous videos on this topic, that IT and supply chain are becoming more and more integrated right now. So this is also a key component there. And then of course you would work with a lot of consulting careers in supply chain are mostly around transformation. Like nobody's going to pay these big companies, consulting companies, which charge you a lot of money just to run their regular operations, right? So this is where the consulting portion of supply chain comes in. And you can be a consultant as well if you think that is the right thing for you. Consulting itself requires, once again, some unique skill sets, your ability to sell your projects, to pitch the projects, to not only make some fancy presentations, but also to have the right meaningful conversations with your clients to convince them to buy your solutions, or whether it could be an internal client, let's say you're working in your existing company in an organization, and then there are a lot of internal consultant roles as well nowadays, or you could be working externally with some of these big consulting companies out there. So just to summarize, these are like the 4 or 5 different key verticals of supply chain where you can maneuver your career. The key message, if you want to take away from this video, is that try to diversify yourself and try to experience each of those pillars as much as possible, because that is going to really give you that horizontal breadth of experience you need in order to eventually become a senior director or a vice president of supply chain, if that's the goal that you have. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I've also made videos on topics like how to enter supply chain from a different profession and how to enter supply chain as a fresh graduate, which you can watch by clicking over here. Keep watching.